So let's start with a little snapshot of your district. We'll put up some numbers here. You have about 780,000 people. You've got a median household income of about $67,000, 40% with college degrees. Tell us what's important to your constituents.
Well, right now, of course, we're big on the tax cuts. We need them to become permanent. And Tax 2.0 is about, small businesses and middle-class Americans, making sure that we keep those permanent. We're seeing a result of about $3,000 per family here in tax cuts, and that's a huge incentive for a lot of us down here. Secondarily, infrastructure. We need our infrastructure. We flood a great deal in the low country, so that's one thing that we're really, really looking at. The other is border security. It's pulled incredibly high in this area. We need help in that area to make sure that we get the immigration issue dealt with this session.
So on the subject of tax cuts, you're familiar, no doubt, with the poll that was leaked from an RNC-sponsored poll that basically said that the message had gotten across that the tax cuts mainly went for the more wealthy people. Is that the perception in your district, 1st Congressional District in South Carolina?
Absolutely not. Our economy is very robust, and it's been an uptick since the tax cuts came into play. Senator Tim Scott was paramount in that issue, and you're definitely seeing it felt here in the 1st Congressional District every day. Our businesses are feeling it from, more people going out to eat to people entertaining their families out and people buying homes and cars. We are absolutely benefits of that.
We heard from President Trump earlier today that because of the confirmation of now Justice Kavanaugh, that would really cause Republicans to come out to the polls and really help with the midterm elections. Where are you on the Justice Kavanaugh issue?
Well, I would have confirmed Kavanaugh if I was in the Senate. I looked at my two senators, Senator Graham and Senator Scott, and both were very deliberate in reviewing the documents and coming forth with why they based their decision. So I was for and support the, Judge Kavanaugh. Do I think that Dr. Ford was assaulted at some point? Absolutely. I think that she had very compelling testimony. The challenge is that there wasn't evidence to substantiate it. Could it have been Brett Kavanaugh? I think it may have been someone else, but that is something that, the FBI did their investigation, the senators reviewed, and now we sit with Judge Kavanaugh. It has, I will say, increased our base. The Republican base has come alive again. I mean, we haven't seen this since 2016, so I'm very impressed with what's happening with our base around district.
Is that for women and men in your district? Because there's some reporting that women really are somewhat turned off by the way the Republicans handle this, including Lindsey Graham, your senator.
So I will, I was watching TV this morning, and there was a segment about mama bears. I had a huge insurgence of women coming to the office after the Thursday events to want to volunteer, to make phone calls. The presumption that someone is guilty until proven innocent is a challenge. I think that every victim of assault should be heard, and I do not discredit anybody. But when you don't have the evidence to corroborate it, we have to remember that you're innocent until proven guilty in this country.
Well, at least in a criminal proceeding, that's true. Ms. Arrington, let's talk about some of that infrastructure maybe that you were talking about before. And that's offshore drilling, which, as I understand, is quite an issue. Your district goes right along the coastline down there, Hilton Head and Charleston, things like that. And we'll put up here, though, there's a poll that says that people oppose offshore drilling 54 to 37%. Where are you on offshore drilling?
I oppose offshore drilling. My opponent's trying to twist the truth, but I am the only candidate that's actually spoken to President Trump, Vice President Pence, and senior elected officials of the administration to discuss a policy that could be put forth to exempt South Carolina tourism from offshore drilling, the highest and best use of the land, and the ocean view. As far as, what the polls are showing, there are polls that show that that is 1% of the issues that are out there. The three biggest issues are tax cuts and making sure that they're permanent, making sure that we get national security in line, and, of course, infrastructure and getting what we need down back in the state of South Carolina.
So as I understand it, what you're saying is to your voters in the 1st Congressional District, offshore drilling is not that big a deal.
It is in some areas. You have to remember there's coastal and inland. But in all the studies that I've done the research on, it's shown that there isn't any more than a 6-day supply of oil off the coast of South Carolina. So it's, I say the left trying to stir up an issue that is a moot point, but I take into effect that I represent the constituents of 1st District, South Carolina, and I'll work to ensure their wishes are confirmed and to have a tourism zone. Hopefully they'll take that policy up with the administration and go for it.
Well,
but clearly the only person...
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I interrupted.
It's clearly I'm the only candidate that's going to have a seat at that table. My opponent wrote a letter that, to I'm not sure whom, but I've actually sat down and discussed the issue with the president and the vice president and senior officials to get what the constituents are asking for. You have to remember there are coastal communities.
Right.
Then there are inland communities that are desperate for, they're looking for jobs and high-paying jobs at that. So you have to balance that out, and it's clear where we're going to go here in South Carolina.
So, as you say, you want to see the table. Doesn't your governor have a seat at the table? Because I understand your governor's been lobbying the administration on exactly the sort of exemptions you're talking about. It hasn't made any headway.
I believe that Governor McMaster definitely has some headway. It's definitely been one of the conversations. But it's up to Congress. Let's remember, Congress needs to get the policy created and up to the president for approval. And that's the job that I have, experience in doing, and I intend to take care of it. I'm known in the state as the pit bull. I get things done, and this is something that we want done. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, so finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your health, and that's not even for politics so much. It's just on a personal level. You had a horrific car accident soon after you won that primary. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. The accident was on June 22nd. I've been back out on the campaign trail daily since the second week in July and rocking and rolling and back in my high heels and running around.